everybody, and big welcome to a Vannifars Simic deck tech video. With us today, we have Kim.
Hello, I'm Kim, cEDH especially Vannifar enthusiast, and I've been playing Magic for almost, I think, 15 years. And today we're gonna show you some combo spice. Yes.
And let's actually jump straight into the combo, because so far I've understood, it's a rather complicated one.
So imagine I have no cards in hand and no cards in graveyard for the simplicity of it. And this guy doesn't even need to be a dork. He's just a dork right now to show you that you can win from 2 lands and not 3 lands. So we start off by adding 1 green mana, and then we pot away a Land Werewolves for a 2-drop. And the 2-drop in this case will be a Card Monitor, which untaps Vannifar. We sacrifice that one for Boundary Crisis, which does the same thing. We sacrifice that one for a 4-drop, which does the same thing. Reaching Hippocamp, and we end up with Shrine Steward. And Shrine Steward is a new card from Kamigawa Neon and gets us Aura of Dominion. Aura of Dominion we can then cast for 2 blue mana and attach to Vannifar. Use our green mana to untap Shrine Steward. After that we sacrifice Shrine Steward for 6 drops, which would be our Woodland Bellower, which gets Wood Elves, and Wood Elves gets a forest, in particular a tropical island. It's important that we have 2 islands, so in this case it could be a forest. Use that land, untap Vannifar, sacrifice Wood Elves for a 4-drop, which is in particular Ursa. Ursa gets us a construct token. We tap the token for blue mana, tap Ursa, untap Vannifar, sacrifice the construct token for a 1-drop, which in this case is Gilded Goose, which gives us a food token. We tap the food token for a blue mana and taps the Gilded Goose to activate the aura again. At this point we can just sacrifice Ursa, 4-drop to 5-drop, get Peregrine Drake. Peregrine Drake will untap our lands, up to 5 lands that is. So we untap our lands, use our lands to keep untapping with Aura of Dominion. So at this point we just float whatever mana we have, and at this point it's 1 green, 1 blue, let's say. And then we sacrifice Gilded Goose, 1-drop for a 2-drop, which is our Phantasmal Image, copies Peregrine Drake. We untap our lands, we tap our lands again. We have 5 mana in our pool. We use one of those, untap Vannifar. And here's the conversion. So we sacrifice one of our Peregrine Drakes for a Deadeye Navigator. We bind Deadeye to Peregrine Drake and we blink it once to untap 3 lands. And with 3 or more lands, we go infinite in mana here. We can choose to blink Deadeye instead of Peregrine, to attach it to something else. And what we do is that we attach it to Woodland Bellower, we blink Woodland Bellower infinitely. We have a bunch of green utility creatures such as Eternal Witness, but those we don't really mind for. We just get our dorks out in the deck, and then we use some mana to untap our Vannifar and sacrifice a 2-drop, in this case Priest of Titania, for a Spellseeker, and we finish everything off with a Final Devastation that we get from Spellseeker. So the last combo that I showcased is being referred to as Hasteless Vannifar combo, or Hasted Deadeye in particular. And that means that we do not utilize 1000-year elixir or any other haste enabler that would be Concordant Crossroads. So this is just a showcase of the best hasteful version that we have in our deck. So what we do is that we start off with basically the same board state. We just need more mana, 4 mana in particular, and we sacrifice a 1-drop. This could be a dork with 3 lands instead, but in this case it's just a shepherd. So we sacrifice 1-drop for Monitor, untap Vannifar, the same ordeal as last time. But from 2 to 3 we instead go and grab the Trophy Mage. Trophy Mage grabs an artifact for 3 mana value. Go grab a 1000-year elixir. We cast it for 3 mana. Then we can pay 1 colorless mana to untap Vannifar and keep the chain going. So we sacrifice Trophy Mage for a 4-drop, and for the 4-drop will be Fate Stitcher. We tap the Fate Stitcher to untap Vannifar, since we can activate it as though it had haste. We sacrifice Fate Stitcher for a Peregrine Drake. The Peregrine Drake untaps our lands. We use 1 blue mana to unnerf Fate Stitcher back to battlefield. We use Fate Stitcher to untap Vannifar. We tap the Vannifar to sacrifice our Peregrine Drake for a Deadeye Navigator. The Deadeye Navigator is soulbinds to Prime Speaker Vannifar. We can blink Vannifar once, and since it has haste, we can immediately use it again. And this time we sacrifice Fate Stitcher, which goes to exile due to unnerf. And now we get Body Double, which enters as Peregrine Drake and untaps our land. And this is pretty much the same board state as shown earlier. So we blink Body Double infinitely. It always enters as as Peregrine Drake until we have infinite mana, and after that we just bind it once to Prime Speaker, like I showed earlier. We sacrifice the Peregrine Drake, 5 mana up to 6. And that will be our Woodland Bellower, and eventually we do the same thing. Blink Woodland Bellower as many times as we'd like for all the dudes. Then we blink Vannifar once to sacrifice a 2-drop, which is Spellseeker. Spellseeker grabs Finale, and we play Finale of Devastation for infinite damage and win. So that's the hasteful one. So essentially this is a board state from which Vannifar can win if we run the triple Bellower combo line. Our latest iteration of the deck doesn't run it, but just so that you know how lethal Vannifar can be from seemingly no resources at all. We have no hand, we have no graveyard, we win from this. The only thing in addition to this is that we have a land drop. But that combo see in one of the primers in the video description.
So that was interesting. So I've seen Vannifar combos before, and what's new here is that new Kamigawa guy that surges out of an aura. What is the advantage between this one and the older versions of Vannifar?
Yes, so the older versions of Vannifar had to go through 1000-Year Elixir, which would be the hasteful version that I just showed you, because we had no good way to bypass mana value 5, and Shrine Steward allows us to do that. Needless to say, like, we can use the Aura of Dominion with the hasteless combo line that I showed you prior to the hasteful one, which is Shrine Steward, but we could also do a line which is called the triple Bellower line if we're playing that gets instill energy instead of Aura of Dominion. So Shrine Steward actually opens up two new combos that are both really good.
But is there an advantage somehow in like card quality for the deck? Because as I remember the older versions of Vannifar, they played a big bunch of really weird untapped creatures that I also saw in this version you showcased here as well.
So I would say that the main difference is that we don't need to rely on Hulk, Protean Hulk. Like the second combo that I showed you was we could run it prior to Shrine Steward's printing, but having to rely on hasteful fully is a bad thing, because the requirement to play 1000-Year Elixir and activate it is 4 mana, and obviously you would probably have 4 mana if you played Vannifar the turn 4 you're attempting to win. You might not have more mana than 4.
Not always. Sometimes you get a Vannifar turn 1 from a Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah, exactly. So in those cases, either the Shrine Steward line or the triple Bellower, if you're on that one, would be a great fit. And also, like in cEDH, in a combo heavy deck, you always need resources. You want resources to be able to protect your combo and not just run the combo.
Yeah, so instead of using those 4 mana for 1000 Years of Elixir, you can use them to counter spells, for example.
Yeah, exactly. But and the greatest thing with this current version, like this is iteration 8, and I've been brewing the deck for 1.5 years straight. So this is iteration 8 of the deck, and we recently went from a Shy Aquarian combo line that doesn't bypass like Rule of Law effects and comes into play spells effect. Like a lot of stack pieces destroy that list, but we recently transitioned from a Shy Aquarian Wincon to Deadeye and Peregrine Drake Wincon, just to be able to bypass
Rule of Law.
Yeah, different stack pieces, exactly.
Yeah.
So right now, like this is a controversial opinion that I have, but I think the hybrid is the best. Like taking the best version, the best parts from hasteful Vannifar and the best parts from hasteless Vannifar, and combining them to a hybrid deck. Because as you know, like CMIC doesn't have like the largest options to choose from when it comes to color identity.
No. How many cards like contributed to the combo though? Like how much space left do you have for counter spells and other cool things? For example, I did notice that you have Ursa inside the combo. That is kind of cool, especially as Ursa can be something of a value engine, I guess.
Yeah, that happens, but we're trying not to get into such a board state, because activating Ursa, obviously we generate a lot of mana, and when we're going in Ursa instead of Finale of Devastation, but that isn't the ideal situation or ideal way of winning. All the creatures, there's a total of 28 creatures right now. If you're running triple Bellower, there's around 35 creatures, and 28 isn't a lot considering running when you consider the fact that you're running a creature toolbox commander, and half of them are like mana dorks and your usual cEDH stuff, and the other half are combo pieces. I think there's like Gilded Drake, Eternal Witness, Phantasmal Image in some cases that are considered 2 box options. Oh, and collect Roof also.
Yeah, I can see that happen sometimes. I'm guessing also there are situations where you won't be able to win through some various dex effects, but you're able to activate Vannifar and find a collect roof anyway.
100%.
Yeah.
And also, I think the deck list will be in the description below. Like not having to go through every stack piece there is in the cEDH format. The stack pieces that are hitting us the hardest are actually creature stack pieces, such as Granith Magistrate, Position Agent, Linvala, all of those features. And we play all of the best creature removal that we can for this fact, because if we can't activate Vannifar, we can't go search for an answer. Simple as that. But when it comes to like creature and enchantment stacks, like Rule of Law doesn't affect us, and Archon of Myria can play through as well. But so like Torpor Orb and Grafdigger's Cage, and the third one is
It's a creature, I think the white one you're thinking about, Containment Priest.
I actually was thinking about Curse Totem, Containment Priest is annoying for us to deal with as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, like creature stacks is our biggest problem. That's why we play so much creature interaction in the deck. But when it comes to like enchantment and artifact stacks, we can play through most of them, and those we can't play through are either not staples in the format or are like hard shutdowns for kind of every deck kind of, and we just sit around until we find interaction or play our interaction in end step and win on our turn. Yeah.
One problem I have or see with Vannifar is that she's extremely telegraphed. I mean, just like you said, Vannifar comes into play, Vannifar passes the turn, and everybody knows that Vannifar wins if Vannifar gets to untap and go for the win. So it becomes a scenario where everyone is gunning their guns at Vannifar, and sometimes someone else gets a benefit from that because they are left alone. The telegraph problem with Vannifar is huge. Like, how do you solve that? Or
so the way I think about it is that Vannifar in a vacuum is probably like 3 decks, along with Cody and some odd nos lists that odd nos list. And obviously it's a 4-player format, free for all, and people are looking at the board and see what's being played. So Vannifar will be the target of choice at any point in time that is on the board, and that is a big struggle, and that's also like that's what we need to think about and try to tackle as we build her and as we play her. And for example, I was talking about like hasteful and hasteless, a hybrid of the two in the deck, and a big reason for that is actually the best thing that we can do if we're not resolving Vannifar in passing is to resolve 1000-Year Elixir or even Concordant Crossroads, because setting up for a win next turn. And yes, that is as telegraphed as playing Vannifar, but we don't expose her, and we'll have resources on our turn to protect her and go for the combo.
what about Hall of the Bandit Lord and crop rotation?
So we've had lists that played it, but the thing is, 1000-Year Elixir and Concordant Crossroads gives mass haste.
Yes.
And Bandit doesn't. So the easiest example would be Fate Stitcher. Like you can't use Fate Stitcher with Hall of Bandit Lord.
No, but you had a version that didn't really require hasteless, and you can use crop rotation in one of your opponent's end step to find Hall of the Bandit Lord before you take your turn to
100%.
sneak past the sort of say thing, and then you untap with your Hall of the Bandit Lord, and you can cast Vannifar and win.
So there are arguments to be had for 1000-Year Elixir, Concordant Crossroad, Hall of the Bandit Warlords, Crashing Drawbridge, and lastly Lightning Greaves. Those are the 5 haste enablers that we are considering for Vannifar. And Hall of the Bandit Warlords, like you could include it just to have the out of drawing crop and play it to get the land and win through a hasteless combo, because only Vannifar gets haste, so you can't do the haste full once, which requires mass haste. There's an argument to be had for that, but it sucks when you draw natural Hall of the Bandit Warlord. So it's like, are you relying on a crop to draw into crop rotation? Because we don't want to draw cards in the deck first and foremost, because we could draw into combo pieces. Would that be worth it to not to draw Hall of Bandit Warlords and not being able to like play Vannifar on curve?
I don't know. I think it's a meta choice, because I think the big problem here is like, if when you play this against the same people over and over, they're gonna be like, okay, kill Vannifar and we're fine.
Yeah.
And as long as they're able to do that, I think you're unable to pretty much play the game. If I understand it correctly, like this deck does not grind. The statement that says we don't want to draw cards means that going to a longer game is not really where this deck wanna go.
So the short version of that is I'm on Mystic Remora, I've been on Mystic Study, I'm going back and forth because you can just overpower your own board with mana and play the that you were potting into anyway. So I've had wins through that, and also you play some big chunky boys like Woodland Bellower. Two things that I would like to just quickly mention on the topic of this. So Vannifar right now, the two biggest struggles, or the three biggest struggles, are telegraphed game plan. Simic colors are limited to what you can do, and the combos that we have to win are not. Some of them are real convoluted, but they are long, like they take up place in your deck. So as much overlap as possible is good, so that we don't have a problem of just running up a bunch of cards that are dead outside the combo. But as soon as like there are new prints that enables even better combos, we can start we can put even more interaction into the deck, and with that we're already playing like best in breed interaction. So the discussions right now on if we're slowly and surely should transition into a stacks heavy Vannifar deck, so we're playing like Simic stacks with Vannifar combo the day that Vannifar wins of like 5 cards instead of 10 to 20 cards like it is now.
Yeah. Why do you like Vannifar? Like, why pick her of all the possible commanders you have in the format, right?
So I'm a 75% brewer and 25% gameplay kind of guy. I love the brewing. Like I've been playing Magic for around 15 years. So I'm into the brainstorming and brewing kind of thing, and I have this spreadsheet beside me with 20 different versions of Vannifar combos. So obviously I'm revealing or talking about the best of the best right now. Honestly, in my opinion, she is a tier 1 commander. Like the fact that she's being respected is just because she's good. It's not because the deck is bad. Like you could argue both sides. But whenever you build a deck where people are forced to interact with you as soon as turn 2 or 3, you're running a good deck. That's the truth of it. If anyone's interested in Vannifar stuff, make sure to join the Vannifar Discord.
Link in the description below of the video.
We're a bunch of cool guys talking about Vannifar pretty much daily, trying to like every new spoiler is like Christmas, or it could be Christmas if there's a new cool card reveal that could open up new chains or optimize existing chains. But yeah, and I go by the name Cortez on all social media and in the Magic universe.
Kim Cortez, thanks for coming here and showcasing Vannifar and showcasing its combo evolution.
Yeah, thanks Mons, and thanks cEDH for the content around cEDH and the promotion of the format. I love it.
That's it for us, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, or you found it inspiring, or maybe there's some cool cards here that works in Vannifar but that works elsewhere too. Maybe a 5-color pod would be a cool thing. Take care, guys.